Factorising is the reverse process to multiplying out brackets. When we multiply out brackets, we take an expression with brackets and rewrite it not to have brackets. With factorising, it's the reverse. We are going to start with an expression with no brackets and rewrite it to have bracketed expressions. There are three types of factorising that we will encounter. The first one is called common factor. In this first example, 3x minus 12. 3 and 12 both have a factor of 3. That means they both are in the 3 times table. So we start by writing equals 3 open bracket. Now we need to write what you multiply 3 by to get 3x. Well, 3 times x gives you 3x. Now we write the minus sign again and now think 3 times what would give you 12. Well, the answer is 4. So the final answer to this is 3 open bracket x minus 4 close bracket. We have to be careful always to use the highest common factor possible. So with 8x plus 20, you may notice that both 8 and 20 are even numbers, so we can divide them by 2. So if we took 2 as a common factor, we would get 2 open bracket 4x plus 10, close bracket. And indeed, if you multiply that out, you do get 8x plus 20. However, that is not the answer we want. We want to take out the highest common factor. And you may have realised the number we could have taken out was 4. 8 and 20 are both in the 4 times table. The answer we should get is 4 open bracket 2x plus 5 close bracket. It is possible that the factor we take out will be more complicated. You would always start by looking for a common factor for the constants. In this case, 14 and 21 have a common factor of 7. But then we also look for a common factor for the variables. In this case, we only have the variable x. Now x divides by x and by 1. X squared divides by x squared, x and 1. The highest common power, which is a factor, would be x. So we start by taking out a factor of 7x. Then we write an open bracket and then we think what we multiply that common factor by to get each of our terms. 7x times 2 would give us 14x. To get 21x squared, we need to multiply by 3 to make the 7 into a 21. And we also need to multiply by x to get x into x squared. So our final answer is 7x bracket 2 plus 3x. It is possible that we may have not just a constant and one variable, but several variables in our common factor. So work through the constant and each variable in turn. So looking at the 18, 27 and 24, it may look like there's a common factor of 9 between the 18 and 27. However, 24 does not divide by 9. In fact, the highest common factor that we've got is 3. So we take 3 out as a common factor. Then we look at the powers of x, x squared, x and x squared. The highest common factor algebraically is x. When it comes to y, we have y in the first and second terms, but not in the third term. So y is not part of our common factor. And finally, we have z cubed, which would have factors of z cubed, z squared, z, or just 1. However, the third term only has z squared. So our common power of z would be z squared. So working forward, to make 3 into 18, we multiply it by 6. To make x into x squared, we multiply by x. We also need to multiply by y, and z squared into z cubed would need a z. Now it's a plus, we write a plus. 3 times 9 would give you 27. We already have an x, we need a y, and again z squared needs to become z cubed, so we multiply by z. Finally, 3 times 8 would give you 24. X times x to get x squared No y, and z squared doesn't need multiplied because we already have z squared. So that is our final answer. And we can double check if we multiply that out, we get what we started with.